Next one. Oh, false confessions. There's a bill in New York. I don't know if they're going to make it federal, where they want to give people who falsely confess to a crime plea bargain a chance to sue the state for making you confess to something you didn't do. Remember, a lot of us take plea bargains, right? What percentage of criminal cases in America are plea bargains? 95%. Now, the Constitution says you got a right to what? Due process, fair trial, and adequate representation. Adequate representation. If you get adequate representation, why are we taking plea bargains? Because we can't afford decent representation. The lawyers are pimps. Even the black lawyers, a lot of them are pimps. Right? They want $5,000, $10,000 and can't even guarantee that they're going to beat your damn case. You see? So, and then they come and you say, what? Take the plea bargain, you get 5 years. If you don't take the plea bargain, they're going to come after you with everything, and you might end up doing your whole life in jail. So if I was you, I'd take the damn plea bargain. Y'all see that? And then once you take the plea bargain, you can never reverse it no more. That's why we got to have our grassroots credit union, y'all, because when a brother get locked up, he say, look, y'all, I need some help. I ain't got no money. Okay, brother, this is what you're going to do. You're going to put X amount down, and we're going to put you on a payment plan. We got to be able to help our own, y'all. And I ain't talking about the brothers who doing wrong. I'm talking about the ones who wasn't even guilty and got framed up on some stuff and was so scared that they was going to get the whole sentence that they took the plea. They took the plea. All they had was a public pretender. Now, this is what I want to say in my final 15 minutes. I want to talk about Honorable Marcus Messiah Garvey. When we talk about Garveyism, we need to break it down in a crash course to about 7 or 8 fundamental principles. Is Garveyism Pan-Africanism? It is a form of Pan-Africanism. But Pan-Africanism predates Marcus Garvey. Remember, Africa for the Africans, those at home and those abroad, Marcus Garvey did not invent that. Martin Delany invented Africa for the Africans before Marcus Garvey was born. But Marcus Garvey added for those at home and those abroad. You see? So there's the continuity. Was Marcus Garvey the first Pan-Africanist to put ships on the water? No. Okay? We had other Pan-Africanists before Marcus Garvey to put ships on the water. Was he the first to say that some of us should go back to Africa to build it up? No. None of Marcus Garvey's ideas were really new. What made Marcus Garvey great, he was the first one to build a mass movement around those ideas. So you had other Pan-Africans with these ideas, but they couldn't get the people to support it. Garvey was able to get the people to get behind Pan-Africanism. As Garveyites, we believe what? That you should identify with your Africanity. We are serious about identifying with our continent of origin. Regardless of where we are or where we came from, we know where the origin is. Even the Human Genome Project has proved what? Every person on earth has their origin in Nile Valley culture and civilization. So we believe in African identity. We also believe in what? Race pride. Only in Garveyism do we put a premium on being proud to be African. You might know your history, but are you proud of your history? You might know your culture, but we are proud of it. We wear it on our sleeve because we're self-respecting. So there must be African race pride, there must be African identity, there must be Pan-African unity. We mean what? We mean that all Africans are one family. Whether you live in Nigeria or North Philly, whether you live in Detroit or Durban, South Africa, you are still Africans. Whether you speak Spanish or English, Muslim or Christian, you still Africans. We don't put borders between each other. So the fact you come from Nigeria and they come from Detroit means nothing. That's still family. Jamaica, Los Angeles, don't matter. Family. Muslim, Christian, Hebrew, Moor, God, Earth, Nawapian, still family. We believe in race first. Put your people first. Race first says we African before we Muslims. We African before we Christians. We African before we Zetas. We African before we Deltas. We African before we Omegas. We African before we Kappas. We African before we are Masons. African first. Nothing comes before the people. Race is first. But some of y'all believe in this integrated human family. Some of y'all can't put black people first because you've been trained to put everybody first. Well, if you put everybody first, you ain't giving your child a head start. Marcus Garvey said what? The Jew is first the Jew. The white man is a white man before he's a Catholic or a Christian. He's white first. Arabs might be Muslims or Christians, but they Arabs first. We got to be Africans first. Garveyism says what? That we must build ourselves up into a strong, organized government. A nation whose headquarters should be where? On the continent. Now, this is what separates Garveyism from other types of Pan-Africanism. Because those of us who are Garveyites believe that the government of the people should be home where it belongs, in the kingdom of Africa. We differ from other groups. If you belong to the Republic of New Africa, they say they want to build a new Africa in America. They say they want to give the United States to give us a couple states in the South, but we're going to build up. Nation of Islam, give us a couple states in the South, but we're going to build up. We say we respect that, but it's nonsense. Because a sovereign nation is never going to allow another sovereign nation in its borders. You'll never get the states. Civil war was fought to keep white people from getting a separate country. What makes you think you get one? Furthermore, why the hell do you want to be landlocked around a bunch of crackers anyway? So for Pan-Africans, we say we can live all around the world. For Garveyites, we say we can live all around the world, but the government will be in Africa. Why do you want to give up the richest piece of land to everybody else? Chinese people can't stay out of Africa. Always going to steal and rob. White man is there. East Indian is there. The East Indian runs South Africa, damn near. And the only people who want nothing to do with Africa is Africans in America. You can do without. I don't want to see it. I don't want nothing Africa got. And by doing that, you let all the other foreign powers come in and invade and exploit. We are Africa's answer, but we don't even know it. Garveyism says we got to have what? Universal. We got to have Pan-African political power that reaches beyond the borders of where we live. So for us, we don't see borders. We deal on the global level. We look at the condition of all African people because we are interconnected. We disagree with people who say, well, Dr. Umar, I understand we Africans and all that, but don't we got to get the Black America thing together first? We disagree. We say the Black American thing will not work unless it's working alongside the African thing at the same time. It's a chessboard. We playing chess when we should be playing. We playing checkers when we should be playing chess. We say that there must be independent economic power. We got to have our own hospitals, our own schools, our own factories, our own programs for our senior citizens, our own birthing clinics. We got to have our own health care. We believe in our own. The next principle of Garveyism is what, y'all? Self-reliance. Whatever must be done for Africans must be done by Africans with no outside help. It is not about hating white people. We don't hate nobody else, but we know that you could never care about us more than we care about ourselves. And we know that white folks will never go against their people for us. Why would you let a natural spy into your organization? Furthermore, even if they're a good white person, black people have the Jesus complex. If a white person comes in a black organization, subconsciously, we will begin to depend on them because we were conditioned to do so. So we don't take money from the government. We don't take money from white philanthropists. We're not looking for grants because we don't want nobody telling us what the hell to do. Anything that got to be done, we do it ourselves. That's another controversial tenet of Garveyism because a lot of other Pan-Africanists will take money from the white man. Some of y'all think you can use the white man's money against the white man. Impossible. I didn't say if you get a grant that you shouldn't get it. I'm saying that if you're using your money for an after-school program, rites of passage, reading camp, I don't have a problem. I'm saying, don't you get into grants when you're trying to lead a revolutionary movement. That's what I'm talking about. If a sister got a program, she gets some money from the city to work with some children, you do that. You don't stop that because ain't nobody else doing it. But I'm saying when we talk about building a credit union, we're not relying on white money for that. We talk about building an independent school for our kids, we're not relying on white money for that. You got to know when to use your own dollar. I remember W.E.B. Du Bois once told Marcus Garvey what? He said, look at this guy. He calls himself the Provisional President of Africa, which was a title that Marcus was bestowed upon the Honorable Marcus Garvey. He was elected Provisional President of Africa at a convention in New York City, 1920. Same year that we got the red, black, and green flag. And W.E.B. Du Bois said, look at Marcus Garvey. He calls himself the Provisional President of Africa. And look at his headquarters. It's a half-finished church. Marcus Garvey said, I would rather own a half-finished church than be working downtown Manhattan in an office financed by Jews. Du Bois couldn't stand Marcus Garvey. Why? Because Du Bois felt he had the natural right to be the next leader. After Booker T. Washington died, and Du Bois couldn't stand Booker T. Remember that? He said, Booker T., you are a sellout. All you want to do is teach black people how to build buildings and clean houses and fix plumbing. And Booker T. Washington said, you up there fighting for political rights, you don't understand that your politics is related to your economics. Some of y'all didn't know what he was talking about. Look around us now. These Arabs out here in Dearborn, do you see them running for president of the United States? Or they even trying to be mayor? Hell no, I'll run the economics. What did Rockefeller say about the money? He said, give me control of the money, and I don't care who makes the laws. That's what Booker T was trying to teach W.E.B. Du Bois. See, W.E.B. Du Bois, y'all, he did some good things, but he also did some terrible things. He hated Marcus Garvey because he felt that because he was biracial and had a doctorate from Harvard, that he should naturally be the leader. He thought he was more qualified than Booker because Booker went to Hampton and he went to Harvard. He was an arrogant, nasty snob. And after Booker T died, Du Bois said, I'm the next great black leader. I had to wait for Frederick Douglass to die. I had to wait for Booker T to die. I got next. Only one problem. Booker T died in 1915. Harriet Tubman died in 1914. Booker T died in 1915. Right before Du Bois assumed the leadership, Marcus Garvey shows up from Jamaica, off the banana boat with the king's accent, saying, up, you mighty race, you can accomplish what you will. Took Du Bois' thunder overnight. Organized more black people in days than we've seen organized in years. Marcus Garvey had a quality that a lot of black leaders didn't have then, don't have now. He had the ability to simultaneously be a leader and an organizer. He had the ability to do both. Some people can lead, but they can't organize. Some people can organize, but they can't lead. Mr. Muhammad was a brilliant man, but he was not a good organizer. The Nation of Islam didn't grow until Malcolm got there. Malcolm was the organizer. Elijah was the leader. Most people can't do both. You see this all through history. All through history. Dr. King wasn't the organizer. Dr. King was the leader. It was the pastors in the Montgomery bus boycott who organized the people and put Dr. King in front. But then Dr. King developed his organizing ability, then he was able to do both at the same time. So Du Bois felt that he had to destroy Garvey. Du Bois was a member of the NAACP. He was the editor of the Crisis magazine and used the Crisis magazine to attack everything Garvey was doing. Do you know it was Du Bois that the government sent to Liberia to disrupt Marcus Garvey's program to relocate Africans back home? Du Bois went over there and poisoned the minds of the leaders of the Liberian government to turn against Marcus Garvey. Du Bois asked the United States government to give him some ships so he could compete with the Black Star Line. And for the record, Mr. Garvey never led a Back to Africa movement. The media made that up. Mr. Garvey said only those who are willing to go back to help build up Africa should go back. He never said everybody should go back home. That is a lie. There was never a Back to Africa movement. Marcus Garvey said, some of you are no good here, and likewise you will be no good there. Could you imagine what would happen if we put a big ship in Detroit Harbor and put all the blacks in Detroit and rolled up on the ship and took your ass to West Africa? Do you know how much problems we would start? You got Negroes with perms, weeds, white lights, basketballs, and iPods. And you going to Africa. As soon as you get there, when you want to know where you can get some food stamps. Are you serious? Them Africans go crazy on us. Everybody be machete to death. Remember, we got to be careful when we go back to Africa. Because our brothers and sisters went back to Sierra Leone. They oppressed the Africans who was there. Our brothers who went back to Liberia, sent back by the American Colonization Society, they went back and started a war with the indigenous Africans. Look at this. They wanted to get away from the white man, but didn't realize they had the white man inside of them. And so when they got to Africa and Liberia, they had to fight wars between indigenous Africans and ex-slaves coming back home who felt that because I was a slave to the white man, I got a right to be in charge. I was in Liberia last January. Do you know right now in Liberia, if you have an English last name like Johnson or Williams, you get status because it's assumed that you are a descendant of the Africans who came back from America. So you're put on a privileged pedestal. But if you have an indigenous African name, you get looked down upon in your own land. This is still going on now. There's a mistrust between descendants of indigenous Africans and those who came back after slavery. So Africans have a right to be mistrusting of us because they know what the hell some of us did to them. You got to work with them. Earn that trust back. That's why those of you who go on the trip to me to Ghana, we're going to have some webinars for y'all. Because we got to get you right. Certain things you don't do is considered disrespectful. For example, if we're going to eat up in the village, we likely got to eat together. They bring a plate of food out, all on one big plate. There are no separate plates. A lot of times they eat with their hands, okay? So if you go over there acting like a damn European Negropean, when they bring the plate out there, you're looking for forks and spoons and shit, okay? Fingers! Because I'm going to tell you what they're going to do. They're going to study how you deal with their food, because food is personal. And the way you deal with their food, let them know whether you're a Negro or an African. I'm telling you, you will fail the test. Marcus Garvey originally came to America to do what? Meet with Booker T. He didn't come here to stay. Marcus Garvey said, I want to open up a Tuskegee Institute in Jamaica. I'm coming to meet with Booker. He gets to America. Booker T just died. He goes to Tuskegee. He meets with R.R. Moulton, who was Booker T's vice president, who became president of Tuskegee after Booker T died. What did we find out later about R.R. Moulton? Undercover agent for the United States Army. You say, Dr. Umar, they had agents back then? Yes. In fact, we can make the argument that the first agent wasn't used on Garvey. We can make the argument that the first agent was used on Booker T. And why did they send R.R. Moulton to Booker T? Because Booker T. Washington was using Tuskegee as a hideout for black revolutionaries. The same man that some of y'all been told was a sellout used to let black revolutionaries come hide out at Tuskegee. Does that sound like a sellout to you? Booker T. Washington paid for civil rights cases out of his own pocket. He would pay the lawyers to fight for the improvement of blacks throughout America. Does that sound like a sellout to you? Did the boy do that? Booker T. Washington used to have conferences for Africans from Africa. He would bring them to Tuskegee, train them how to build, send them back to Africa to build infrastructure for their country. He started the African American Business League. Does that sound like a sellout to you? Problem with Booker T is Booker T was using strategy. He used strategy. He said, I'm not going to come out and tell these crackers what I think about them. I'm going to make them think I'm a yes man so I can keep my school running. I'm going to make them think I'm a yes man so I can hide out these revolutionaries.
Remember college. Well, now college is over. And here comes your student loan debt. Is private student loan...
When we deal with interracial relationships, I always like to qualify the conversation for people who are listening, especially those outside the community, so that they understand